Okay, so this is our $300 house challenge. The way we decided to do this was just really explore different ideas. My name is Marco Cortez, and Jerry was my teammate, so was Darshani. And this is some of the stuff we did.
So the overview, homelessness has been an ongoing issue for a very long time now, but sometimes it's something that many people face and don't receive the help they need. In California alone, California has a disproportionately large homeless population. Over 151,000 estimated homelessness Californians. California has more homeless than any other state, and if we really want to get into depth, let's focus on Fresno. It's something tragic that no one tries to address. Many simply throw money at that situation expected to fix it itself, but that's not that simple. Homeless people sometimes get treated horribly as if they aren't human beings. That's where we come in, where we give in the challenge of trying to help the homelessness with a very small budget. And we're forced to use our creativity and think outside the box a little to give them a place to live with the basic needs. We wanted something that was simple, durable, nice, and most importantly, made them feel like a person.
So our design narrative was design work materials were related to cheap and long-lasting time. Make sure like it feels like a home. Our dimensions for the building was 7 foot 6 inches by 7 foot 6 inches, and the lowest point at the height of one side is 7.2 inches. This gives a person plenty of space. We use wood pallets and slightly elevated off the floor. For framing and roofing, we use wood pallets. On the roof for rain protection, we use recycled roofing shingles that will allow good coverage against the elements. We had a standard door size of 80-inch by 28-inch. With that, we wanted to add some natural light with a good sized window on one end. For our power supply, we went with a small solar panel. We went a lot over budget and struggled with making out of materials that were donated. It was difficult to really get the price down because I'm sure with a little more research, we were able to get it down significantly. Overall, this was a great experience and allowed us to really get the feel of designing something that is our own.
So now on to the notes / tasks. This is how we laid out our project. We wanted to make it a stationary home, just so they have a place where they can go from work to home essentially. So we didn't want them to be able to move from place to place just because it might be difficult for them. Our original plan was hollow core bricks. We were informed that hollow core bricks had good thermal insulation, and they were easy to engineer. And mostly we got this idea from Darshani. She mentioned that they were mainly used in India and they were used a lot. One of the other options we talked about was clay bricks. Those were something that we could make on our own, but we found it kind of difficult to really find. And then for electricity, obviously, as you mentioned before, we use a small solar panel. Those we found that there's a lot of smaller solar panels that you can use to charge many items or even have lighting fixtures based off of them for roofing, the roofing shingles. And for the foundation, we still wanted to use the hollow core brick just because it was easier to elevate the structure off the floor. And what we modeled it off was this concrete shed. We didn't go exactly with the sloping roof backwards. We did with the classic roof on a home. And then for our task, for me, it was a poster, video, design narrative, Revit, and SketchUp. For Jerry, it was Revit and cost estimate. And for Darshani, it was a poster, video, and narrative. We all kind of jumped in and helped each other out throughout the 4 weeks that we worked on this.
As for cost estimate, the total came out to be $679.42. As you could tell, we did not reach the 300 limit because some of the materials that we use, they do cost a lot, and we had to get a lot. Like, even though we were limited, to build the house, like, the quantity, we needed a lot more just than like a few. So it came out to be as much as we thought it would come out as.
Some of the materials that we used, obviously the most expensive one was plywood. This we could have easily cut down. We just didn't really. We're not very experienced with building stuff like this, so I'm pretty sure there was other ways we can get that plywood even donated, probably even free. And then we went down and did drywall on the inside just to give it a nice finish, just so it feels more like a home, and they have place to like hang stuff if they have pictures or anything. We went with regular studs for framing. Insulation, we wanted to make it as warm as possible, just so they have a nice place to stay inside, keep cool. And roofing shingles, those are donated. We found a spot where we were able to get those for free, and they were still in good condition. For flooring, we found a ad on Facebook Marketplace where it was good flooring and it was free, or not free, but $30 for a good amount for 100 square feet of flooring. We went with synthetic underlayment just for to have against the elements. And the pallets were donated. We found a spot where we can get those donated from. Solar panels, we went with one that we found off Amazon that could power a light fixture and charge necessary items that they had. For a bed, we found one relatively cheap on Walmart, or not Walmart, but it was also Amazon. It wasn't a large bed, but it was something where they could have a good night's rest on. Lighting fixture, we found a small one at Home Depot where they can have some sort of light at night when they don't have the natural light coming in the day. Window was also found at Home Depot, and that's what brought our total down to 679, which is two $300 houses. So we were obviously we could do a lot more to cut that down and figure out a way to not use such expensive materials so we can keep it under that $300 limit. There.
This is our poster. It's basically our inspiration, and it shows all of our 3D views that we use on SketchUp. For the front, it has a door and a window right next to it, and as you can see through the door, there's a bed right there, and all the what is it? Shit. Good, bro?
Yeah, I jumped. Sorry about that.
And then there's a top view of our roof and how it's laid out, and it shows our team notes, our design narrative, and our main inspiration was to have that stationary home that's very like simple. We weren't trying to go too much in depth with like very like a new expensive house.
Yeah, this poster we just so it was a sample poster that we decided to use, and we took a look at everybody else's, try to get a little bit of everything in there just so it looks nice. Keep it clean and simple. Now on to the next slide. This is our hour log.
Yeah, our log, I think we all did our part evenly. We all joined on the Zoom sessions. We all came together to complete the project. And I think we did pretty good so far. Like, we all came in, we all kept in contact. We did our hours. No one was late. No one was like running behind. So yeah.
So obviously it was a little bit more difficult just because we weren't able to do this in person. So sometimes we had connection issues or stuff like that that got in the way. I'm pretty sure if this was in person, it would be much easier and make it a more smooth project. But
Yes.
what we were able to work with, we did what we could, tried our best, and this was one of the more difficult projects, I think, just because of the issues with Zoom and stuff. But it was a way to,
like, my mic wasn't working, like, for the most part, and so it was difficult texting through to get my messages across.
Yeah, and I missed one day too, but notified Marco about it.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just keeping in contact, keeping communication to really get it done. We have our, I believe it is, where did it go? Oh, I cannot find it anymore. There you go. This is our final package. The last thing we want to go over is our team reflection. We all wrote a little bit about this project. So starting off with mine, I put this project was quite difficult because of the fact that we had to think outside the box and face many obstacles throughout the way. We had to take into consideration many small things, and even though we found ourselves missing key items, and of course there were many flaws and errors in our design, going through this is easy to say that this project has been one of the more difficult projects that I've worked on. It was a good experience because it showed us how to work as a team and also let us explore on our own. There are many things that we can improve on and we'll learn as we continue on throughout college. And this was Jerry.
Okay, starting with the project, it was pretty like amusing and challenging because of like the coronavirus and everything. There's like no like meetings or anything, but except online. It's pretty difficult for me. Like I have a lot of like disruptions at home too. And the projects, they went really well, but I feel like if we were in person, we could have done a lot more like productive meetings. Like we could have done a lot better than just like computer audio. We had better connections with my partners and just better relationships. And when we were researching everything, it was pretty fun researching, like trying to find the cheapest materials for like all the housing and stuff.
I think that was
Uh,
one of the more difficult parts, just
yeah.
researching.
Pretty grateful for Marco and Darshani because they're very hardworking and they're very pleasant people to work with.
And then here is Darshani's.
Yeah, so overall, I thought this project was going to be difficult. I mean, it was difficult, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like we all got up and like did our work. We made sure everything was done well. We had no, I mean, I guess we had difficulties, but it wasn't like it wasn't terrible, I guess. Like it was interesting trying to come up with a plan for only a $300 house. But, like we put our brains together and came up with a good plan and thought like of good ideas to build it. And then as a group, I like working with them. They were pretty like they're hard workers, and I'm happy I got assigned with them because I think we did a pretty good job of not knowing how to use the programs that well, like as Revit and SketchUp. So yeah.
And that's pretty much it for our project. It was a good experience and we learned a lot and we
Mhm.
hope
Yeah.
to continue on learning things.